In this unbelievable yet true story, an elderly man named Li Baicheng brings his wife to visit a prostitute. His wife doesn't make a fuss, obediently waiting in another room. Li Baicheng is a fortune teller who, years ago during his travels, heard about the plight of Xu Zhenju. Xu Zhenju was born deaf, mute, mentally disabled, and disfigured. After her parents passed away, her elder brother and sister-in-law banished her to a small shack in the courtyard to sleep. In the dead of winter, Xu Zhenju would howl from the cold. But when she tried to enter the house for warmth, her brother and sister-in-law refused to open the door. They only fed her cold leftovers. Taking pity on her, Li Baicheng approached Xu Zhenju's elder brother. After a simple negotiation, he took Xu Zhenju as his bride for a 130 yuan dowry. They officially married the following year, when Li Baicheng was 42 and Xu Zhenju 45. Now, after 14 years of marriage, Li Baicheng has no complaints about his wife, who can't do laundry, cook, or even take care of herself. He married Xu Zhenju simply for companionship. In his view, as long as there's a woman in the home, no matter how poor, he feels very happy. Under Li Baicheng's attentive care, Xu Zhenju is always smiling blissfully like a child, seeming to have left her painful past behind. However, when she sees clothes in the trash, she insists on taking them home regardless of their condition. Li Baicheng scolds her fiercely, but Xu Zhenju won't let go. The fear of freezing is ingrained in her instincts. Each extra piece of clothing provides an added sense of security. Most of Li Baicheng's fortune-telling clients are women in special professions. Tang Xiaoyan, 35 and still single, is one of them. She wants to know if she'll ever marry. After examining her birth date and time, Li Baicheng determines she's fated to be alone unless she changes her name. Tang Xiaoyan can't help but reflect on her past. In her early 20s, she was approached by a well-dressed, well-spoken man. Without a second thought, she went home with him. To her shock, the man confessed to being a wanted murderer who had already killed 3 girls. He forced Tang Xiaoyan to undress at knife point. Seeing no escape, Tang Xiaoyan calmly submitted to the man's demands. In front of the camera, she laughs it off, reassuring herself it's no big deal since she wasn't a virgin anyway. But then, she can't help breaking down in tears. Only after returning home did she realize how terrified she was. She begged her boyfriend to comfort her, but he coldly refused. At that moment, Tang Xiaoyan grew up. From then on, she followed one principle. When facing difficulties, she could only rely on herself. After over a decade of trials and tribulations, Xiaoyan has become shrewd in her words and deeds. She opened her own massage parlor in Beijing. When someone calls to threaten her, she curses them out. When ruffians cause trouble, she grabs a club and beats them. She's no longer the timid girl from her youth. Li Baicheng gives Tang Xiaoyan 3 new names. She writes them down and places the paper in front of the Guanyin statue in her hometown. Supposedly, after 100 days, she can break free of her ill fate. To celebrate her rebirth, Xiaoyan takes on one of the girls at her shop as a goddaughter. For the first time, she shares her story from when she was 17, when she narrowly escaped being raped by a gang boss. As she recounts the tale, she laughs, cursing the man for his impotence and considering herself lucky. But in the next moment, she clutches her clothes and sobs. Then and now, she desperately needed a warm, reliable embrace. But there was none. She could only depend on herself. Despite her risque business, she holds traditional views. She believes that no matter how successful a woman's career, it can't compare to having an attentive husband. That is a woman's greatest happiness. But for her, that happiness is far out of reach. In public, she's the center of attention with friends all around. In private, she drowns her sorrows in alcohol, bearing her pain and wiping her tears alone. She strives to live a better life, but even after changing her name, she can't change her destiny. 6 months later, in an act of revenge, one of the girls at her shop is caught in the act. Tang Xiaoyan is also arrested and detained for 14 days. After her release, Xiaoyan transfers ownership of her shop and disappears without a trace. As the year draws to a close with tightened restrictions, Li Baicheng doesn't dare set up his fortune-telling stall. Due to his disability, he has been arrested multiple times. In contrast, despite also being disabled, his younger brother Li Baicheng still has a steady stream of customers. Li Baicheng gained a divine reputation in his early years of traveling and telling fortunes. Many people come from afar to seek his guidance on wealth and relationships. With his smooth tongue, he often hits the nail on the head. He advises ending ill-fated relationships and encouraging good ones. Of course, his fees are not low. He can sell a talisman he bought wholesale for a few yuan at the market for 660 yuan, claiming it's already discounted. Li Baicheng also hangs up a sign at home. A woman named Yu Xiaoyun comes to visit. Since turning 26, her life has been full of misfortune. She has an important matter to handle at the end of the year and wants to know if it will succeed. Nervous and anxious, she repeatedly asks Li Baicheng, who remains silent. Upon learning that the end of the year is an auspicious month for her and her chances of success are high, Yu Xiaoyun finally relaxes. If this year-end matter can be resolved, it would be better than anything. Her husband committed a crime and was imprisoned for the sake of the family. For 4 years, Yu Xiaoyun has used money earned through prostitution to pull strings and make arrangements. She left her daughter in her mother's care, lying that the father was working out of town. She shouldered everything alone while keeping her family in the dark. With the year-end anti-vice crackdown, Yu Xiaoyun is on edge every time she goes to work. In her line of work, each session earns 100 yuan, with the boss taking a 30 yuan cut and her keeping 70 yuan. Whenever the humiliation becomes unbearable, she repeatedly encourages herself. With tears in her eyes, she calculates there are just over 70 days until her husband's release. She consoles herself. If she can endure a little over 2 months more, time will pass quickly. At the end of the year, the son of a high-ranking official is conned out of 80,000 yuan by a fortune teller. The police further intensify their crackdown. The sign Li Baicheng hung in his courtyard is torn down. Seeing no way to make a living, Li Baicheng and Xu Zhenju board a bus back to their hometown. On the county's main street, he runs into a few old homeless friends. Their shared experiences provide endless conversation. Li Baicheng feels a hint of envy towards these friends. They don't need to worry about making money and other troubles like normal people. They are unaffiliated, wandering Buddhas, carefree and content. Although they sleep on the streets late at night, their quilts never warming up. When hungry, they just beg. If one eats his fill, the whole family doesn't starve. The director blurts out without thinking that he feels this kind of life has no joy. Li Baicheng is instantly angered. If there's no joy, then don't live. In fact, the homeless also have their own pleasures. Li Baicheng brings Xu Zhenju back to her brother's home. After many years apart, her brother and sister-in-law greet them with beaming smiles and immense enthusiasm. Xu Zhenju finally sits on a warm, cozy Kang bed stove. Faced with her old home of many years, she's nervous and at a loss. At mealtime, her sister-in-law prepares a table full of delicious food. Perhaps she wants to make a good impression for the camera, or perhaps she is genuinely welcoming Xu Zhenju. Li Baicheng points to the sheep pen, explaining that was where Xu Zhenju used to sleep. It's not hard to imagine the agony Xu Zhenju endured in that shed that could only keep out the rain. Yet upon seeing her old sleeping quarters, Xu Zhenju just smiles foolishly again. Life is good for her now. Her elder brother insists on cutting Xu Zhenju's long hair. Li Baicheng objects strenuously, quietly fuming. Over the years, he discovered the length of Xu Zhenju's hair was connected to his financial luck. Otherwise, he would have long shaved Xu Zhenju bald. Why bother with the hassle? After leaving his brother-in-law's home, Li Baicheng takes Xu Zhenju to the Disabled Persons Federation to seek assistance. He presents their various certificates, repeatedly emphasizing that they are both disabled, childless, and without stable income. But the staff just give bureaucratic excuses, shirking responsibility. Despite Li Baicheng's efforts, it's all in vain. After leaving the Federation, he takes Xu Zhenju to visit a prostitute. Afterwards, Li Baicheng frankly admits he has considered abandoning Xu Zhenju, but couldn't bring himself to do it. After resting, Li Baicheng brings Xu Zhenju back to his own hometown. All 4 brothers in the family are disabled. The eldest believes it's because the house faces the wrong direction. It's an ominous dwelling, but Li Baicheng doesn't think that way. Having been disabled the earliest, he was bullied by his siblings since childhood. After his parents passed, the old house was given to his eldest brother. With no home or land to his name, Li Baicheng had no choice but to wander. Looking at the dilapidated, desolate courtyard walls, Li Baicheng can't help but mention the house was built by his father in 1958. Although it's in shambles, Li Baicheng finds it hard to conceal his fondness. If possible, he would prefer to live out his days in this broken-down house. At night, Li Baicheng needs his crutches to lay out the bedding. Taking off his pants reveals a pair of skeletal legs, a record of his lifetime of roaming. Actually, in his early years, Li Baicheng learned how to con people with playing cards. This trick worked every time, allowing him to make 180 yuan in an hour. Come spring of the next year, Li Baicheng once again brings Xu Zhenju back into town. Xu Zhenju is drawn to the bustling novelty, grinning with glee. But after making a round, neither is willing to spend any money on entertainment. Taking advantage of the temple fair, Li Baicheng finally has a chance to enter the temple and burn incense. With exceptional piety, Li Baicheng chants under his breath, only praying that the Bodhisattva protects him and his wife, and that all goes smoothly for everyone. He has no other requests. The festival is a sea of people, lively and extraordinary. Quite a few disabled folks are performing or begging, and there are also many fortune-telling peers. Li Baicheng dresses Xu Zhenju in a bright red cotton-padded jacket and drapes a banner on her that reads, "Modern Foolish Living Buddha." He hopes Xu Zhenju will attract the attention of passers-by and garner some charitable giving. However, after a whole day, neither Xu Zhenju nor his own fortune-telling stall receives any patronage. The next day, Li Baicheng finally gets a customer. Xu Zhenju's collection box also continuously receives donations. But after a full day, the couple only earns around 100 yuan in total. Li Baicheng feels his luck is poor this year. As people come and go, the pair stumbles and blends into the crowd. The Fortune Teller is a Chinese documentary. Through Li Baicheng's constant scene changes, the film presents a broader social portrait of unemployed drifters. The disabled, the homeless, women in special professions. Due to their physical challenges and occupations, they are simultaneously marginalized by society and destined to be cut off from material and spiritual wealth. In their world, the layers of life are compressed to the extreme. There are no material pleasures, no spiritual pursuits, even dignity is beneath mention. Their only hope is to live. Many people may be like the director, unable to resist wondering, what joy is there in such a life? Influenced by social education, we always feel life should accomplish something to have meaning. The Fortune Teller reveals the fundament of existence. In the face of living, meaning is just icing on the cake. However, the impact of material wealth has caused many to put the cart before the horse. The pursuit of meaning far exceeds living itself. This leads to a disregard and indifference towards the lives of others and even one's own. Life itself is meaningless. It's simply an artificial product of the development of human civilization. Life itself is just living.